do you explain her?
Kobe Bryant with a ponytail. Seriously, like apex predator, great basketball player who wants to steal your soul.
Every building she goes into is a different energy.
Just bounces off that, drops it in, and she'll go to the line. And look at the emotion.
And to see all those people, oh my gosh.
We're on the bus and we're all just kind of like, oh my gosh. You're walking out into a sea, like quite literally a sea of gold.
She's advanced, man. She could do a lot out there.
She's playing at a whole different level right now. And America is watching.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hey, what's up, Caitlin? Hey, Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark.
She's growing Iowa's economy.
Tim McGraw comes out on stage in Des Moines wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey. I mean, it's bananas right now.
They sell out every road game. It's like a rock band tour. They sell out every road game.
Coming off a screen, top of the key, three, swish.
If you were an opposing coach game planning to stop Caitlin Clark, what would you do? Pray.
She is the greatest scorer college basketball has ever seen.
Here's what the highlight reels won't tell you. While everyone was celebrating Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA, a group of veterans had already made a decision. This wasn't going to be easy. This wasn't going to be friendly. And some of what she endured wasn't even about basketball. The most decorated scorer in college basketball history walked into a league that didn't just test her. Parts of it targeted her. And what happened next reveals everything you need to know about power, resentment, and what happens when one player forces an entire system to choose between protecting the old guard or building around the future. Many of you have been connecting these dots for months. The flagrant fouls that weren't called, the dismissive comments from veterans, the media narratives that kept shifting every time she proved something new. Let's filter out the noise and look at what actually happened. Because this story isn't just about Caitlin Clark surviving her rookie season, it's about what the league chose to allow while she did it. If you believe the story behind the story matters, smash that like button. It tells us we're on the right track. Before the packed arenas and the hostile welcome, there was a second grader in Des Moines who couldn't understand why she kept losing. That confusion didn't make her quit. It made her furious, and that fury became the foundation for everything that followed. Caitlin Clark grew up in a family where competition wasn't optional. Older brother, cousins, weekend games that turned into full-scale battles. If there was a ball, there was a score. If there was a score, losing felt personal. Her parents still remember watching her pull up from the free throw line on a 6-foot rim like it was the most natural thing in the world. On soccer fields, she ran past everyone. On basketball courts, that same instinct showed up early. The confidence to take the shot, the expectation that the moment would come, the readiness when it did. But here's where it gets real. Playing with her older brother and his friends wasn't some cute developmental story. It was survival training. The boys were bigger, stronger, faster. Nothing came easy. Nothing came free. She lost constantly, and every loss hit hard because losing didn't compute yet. She cried not because she was soft, but because defeat felt wrong on a fundamental level.
Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo! And a little point afterwards. She knows how to spark the crowd.
I love when the lights shine the brightest. You know, I always grew up watching the game. I had cousins that played. So, you know, just a super, super competitive family, and I loved being around sports.
You know, I grew up watching the game. I had an older brother that played basketball, so I always tagged around with a lot of boys, and I think, you know, that kind of helped me like develop my offensive skill set at a younger age, a little faster than most people would. And then when I made that transition from boys basketball to girls basketball, I was, you know, already kind of a step ahead, and, you know, I always had the will to want to be better, you know, and I played up usually throughout AAU.
Her mom kept the message ice cold. If you want to play with them, you have to survive with them. No shortcuts, no protection, no sympathy. That mindset carved the edge that later showed up as logo pull-ups and cold-blooded step-backs. It started as a second grader, refusing to be the weak link in a driveway game. By 6th grade, everything escalated. Caitlin entered the AAU circuit with Iowa Attack, the same program that produced NBA champion Harrison Barnes. Now, the competition wasn't just Des Moines kids. It was the best players from across the country. Every weekend, every gym, no hiding. College letters started arriving before 7th grade. Coaches kept repeating the same breakdown. She sees the floor differently. She plays with zero fear. She demands the ball. She controls pace like a veteran. At Dowling Catholic High School, the pattern accelerated. She averaged over 27 points per game across her career. As a senior, that number jumped past 33 a night. Gyms stopped feeling like gyms and started feeling like stages. Teachers had to shut down classroom competitions because her switch flipped too hard. She couldn't turn it off, didn't want to. Then came the Iowa decision. She committed to stay home, to build something in her own state. And what she built there rewrote every record anyone thought was permanent. The scoring record that once belonged to names like Kelsey Plum fell. The assist records fell. The three-point records fell. She became the all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I history, men's or women's. Not just breaking records, but shattering them by margins that made people question if they were reading the numbers correctly. Iowa games became cultural events. 12,000 fans in Carver Hawkeye Arena, opposing arenas, selling out months in advance just for the chance to see what she might do. Tim McGraw wearing her jersey on stage, the state's economy shifting around her schedule, road games that felt like rock band tours. This wasn't just college basketball. This was a phenomenon. But here's what you need to understand about that Iowa run. Every new level brought doubters. Every achievement sparked the same questions. Is she actually that good, or is the competition weak? Can she do it against elite defenses? What happens when she faces real pressure? She answered every question the same way, by going back to work and coming back sharper. The final college game hurt. Losing at home in the NCAA tournament, falling short of the championship everyone expected. But even in that loss, the pattern held. When she gets knocked down, she levels up. And the WNBA was about to test that pattern harder than anything before it. April 2024. The most consequential draft pick in years. The Indiana Fever, a franchise that had been struggling for seasons, suddenly became the center of the basketball universe with one selection, Caitlin Clark, first overall pick. The expectations weren't fair, but they were real. Fans wanted instant wins, sellouts, viral moments, a complete turnaround on day one. She delivered some of it immediately. The logo threes followed her to the league. The passes followed too. So did the cameras, the ticket demand, the rating spike that made executives take notice. But the WNBA had a different welcome planned. And what happened in those first weeks wasn't about basketball development or learning curves. Reading between the lines of what we saw on court reveals a coordinated message, hard bumps off the ball, contact on every drive that referees let slide, fouls that felt more like statements than plays. Some veterans pulled her in and showed respect. Others dismissed her entirely, called her a media creation, said respect only comes with championships. The subtext was clear. You haven't earned anything yet. Then came the moment that exposed everything. A flagrant foul that wasn't just physical contact, it was a message. Caitlin Clark got hip-checked off the ball. No basketball play involved, just a veteran making a point. The broadcast caught it clearly, analysts called it obvious, and the officials, they reviewed it and called it a common foul. Not flagrant, not even unnecessary, just basketball. You were onto something when you noticed the pattern. This wasn't one incident. This was a test. And the silence from league leadership spoke volumes. If this is what happens to your biggest star, your ratings driver, your ticket seller, what message does that send? drop a comment below about what you think the league should have done differently, because this conversation matters. Meanwhile, the losses kept coming. Indiana had the top pick for a reason. They were rebuilding. Every defeat turned into content. Every mistake got magnified. Any hard foul became a full debate cycle. Critics came out in waves. She's overhyped, not the greatest. Pretty privilege. White privilege. The debate wasn't just about basketball anymore. Suddenly, a 22-year-old rookie wasn't just running pick and rolls. She got dropped into the middle of a culture war she never asked to lead. Some veterans went even further with the dismissiveness. One said her style was just threes. Another suggested she wasn't even the best player in her draft class, that they'd take Paige Bueckers over her without hesitation. The question kept coming. Does Caitlin Clark need a championship to be considered great? As if 33,000 points and every major scoring record weren't enough. As if changing the entire landscape of women's basketball didn't count. But here's what the critics missed while they were busy moving goalposts. Inside the daily grind, something familiar was happening. Caitlin Clark was learning again, adjusting, taking the hits, watching film, finding new reads, building real chemistry with Aaliyah Boston. And then, game by game, flashes of the scorer who destroyed college defenses started showing up. Her first WNBA triple-double arrived. Her first real pro logo shot went down. The same confidence, the same range, the same ability to make defenders look lost. And through all the noise, all the targeting, all the debates about whether she deserved the attention, her mindset stayed locked in on one thing: getting better. She talked about finding just as much joy in a perfect pass as a deep three, about making herself harder to guard by creating for teammates when defenses sold out to stop her shot. No diva energy, no victim mentality, just someone who understood the assignment and refused to let outside noise define her approach. Connecting the dots reveals something the league couldn't have predicted. Caitlin Clark doesn't just change box scores. She shifts expectations about what women's basketball can be. The edge, the swagger, the confidence, the shot selection that makes people shake their heads and then immediately check the replay. That energy has always been celebrated on the men's side. Now it's pulling kids, boys and girls, into gyms and driveways trying to copy her moves. She doesn't need to be the female version of anyone. Not Stephen Curry, not Kobe Bryant. She's Caitlin Clark, the kid from Iowa who wrote WNBA on a piece of paper in second grade and chased it with everything she had. And what she represents now goes beyond highlights and assists. She's proof that women's basketball can be loud, profitable, polarizing, and undeniable all at once. Here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. Growth always creates friction. New money makes people nervous. New faces challenge old power structures. Caitlin Clark didn't invent that dynamic. She just exposed it under the brightest lights possible. Some veterans saw a threat to their legacy. Some saw a media creation getting attention they felt they deserved. What they didn't see coming was how she'd respond to all of it. The pattern never changed. When she got knocked down, she leveled up. From crying after rec league losses to getting cut from USA basketball teams, to losing at home in the tournament, to carrying a college program and now a professional franchise. The response stayed the same: work. But the real question moving forward isn't whether Caitlin Clark will show up. She always does. The question is whether the people around her will rise with the moment. Coaches, officials, executives. You don't have to worship a star to build around one. You have to protect your talent, be honest about the business, and understand the value being created. The uncomfortable truth? The game didn't break for her. It stretched to keep up. And some people in the league still haven't adjusted to that reality. They're still treating her like she needs to prove herself, when sellout crowds and record ratings already told the story. The Indiana Fever went from invisible to must-see television overnight. Road arenas that used to have empty sections now require security plans for crowd control. That's not hype. That's impact. This story is still unfolding in real time. More records are coming. more sellouts, more viral nights. There will also be more rough games, more criticism, more pressure. That's the cost of playing under a spotlight turned all the way up. But if there's one thing we know about Caitlin Clark, it's this. She's built for it. What we're watching isn't just about one player or one season. It's about whether women's basketball will embrace what she represents or keep trying to fit her into outdated frameworks. The choice the league makes next will define the sport for the next decade. If you want the full breakdown on what's really happening behind the scenes in the WNBA, the power plays up, the business decisions, the player dynamics they won't show you on broadcasts, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we're diving deep into the Angel Reese situation next, and what we found about the real tension between these two will shock you. The future of basketball is being written right now, and whether the old guard likes it or not, Caitlin Clark isn't waiting for permission to lead it.